Have you ever found yourself just staring at a complex chart, totally overflowing with numbers and lines, and thinking, how on earth do I turn all of this into one clear, intelligent paragraph? Well, if that sounds familiar, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to crack the code.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Picture this. You've got a pie chart, maybe a bar graph or a table that's just jam-packed with data. Your mission is to describe it. Pull out the main story and present it clearly. It sounds simple enough, but then you run into the real challenge.
And that's the kicker, right? You have to be insightful, you have to be accurate, and you've got to be incredibly brief. We're talking 120-word limit. It can feel like you're trying to fit an elephant into a matchbox, but I promise you, it's not impossible. You just need the right set of keys to unlock it.
So let's think about this like a mission. Your job is to decode the intelligence that's hidden inside the data, and then report back with a concise, powerful summary. No fluff, no wasted words, just the critical facts presented in a way that makes perfect sense to anyone who reads it. Every successful mission needs a good plan. And for this one, we've got a universal blueprint. It's a simple, three-part structure that's basically your secret weapon for any chart, graph, or table you come across. If you can master this, you're already halfway there.
And here it is. It's so simple. An introduction to set the scene, a body to really dig into the key findings, and a conclusion to deliver that one powerful takeaway. Intro, body, conclusion. It's simple, it's effective, and it's your key to victory. Honestly, if you can master this flow, you've already won half the battle.
And the best part? The introduction practically writes itself. You don't have to be some kind of literary genius. Just grab one of these starter phrases from your toolkit and combine it with the chart's title. For instance, the pie chart describes, and then you just say what it's about. Boom. Part one of the mission is already done.
Okay, so with the introduction locked and loaded, we can move on to the body of the paragraph. Now this is where we really elevate things from just a simple description to a sharp analysis. And to do that, you need the right words. Think of these as your toolkit of secret weapons, specialized vocabulary that makes you sound like an absolute pro.
Let's look at how we can transform your language. So, for a line graph, don't just say the number went up. Did it rise steadily, or did it skyrocket all of a sudden? If the line is all over the place, well, it fluctuated. Using the right word here adds so much precision and analytical power. Just take a look at these words. Choosing the right one is what really separates a basic report from a professional analysis. And this applies to pie charts too. Instead of just a dry 52%, try saying over half of the respondents. See how much more sophisticated that sounds? 25% becomes a quarter of, and a tiny 2% is just a small fraction. This shows you have a deeper understanding of the data. You're not just listing numbers, you're translating them into meaningful descriptions. Data rarely tells a compelling story all by itself. The real insights, the good stuff, it comes from comparison. Simple little phrases like in contrast to or while are your secret weapons for connecting different data points, highlighting the differences, and really building a narrative. Let's see how this works.
All right, theory is great and all, but let's see how this actually works in the real world. We're going to take a sample data set and apply our blueprint and our new vocabulary, step by step. So let's get to the mission debrief and see how this all comes together. Here we go. Here's our data, a chart showing the proportion of different household types living in poverty back in the UK in 2002. We've got several categories here, but a few of these numbers immediately jump out. The big question is, where do we even begin our analysis?
This right here is probably the most important strategic decision you're going to make. Start with the highest value and work your way down logically to the lowest. Or, hey, you could go from lowest to highest. The key is to pick a direction and stick with it. This creates a really clear, easy-to-follow story for your reader. No jumping all over the place.
So to kick off the body of our paragraph, we want to immediately shine a spotlight on the most significant piece of data. This phrase, "it is clearly evident that," is that spotlight. It basically tells the reader, hey, pay attention, this is the most important thing you need to know. So, in our chart, that 26% for sole parents is clearly the most significant data point. They're the largest group, so that's where we start. It is clearly evident from the chart that sole parents form the majority at 26%. Simple as that.
Now let's add another secret weapon to our vocabulary, the phrase accounted for. It's just a fantastic professional way to say that a group makes up a certain part of the data.
So for the next highest group, single people without children, we can say they accounted for 24% of the total.
Remember those comparison phrases we talked about? Now's the perfect time to use one. We've mentioned the highest proportions, so to give a really complete picture, we should contrast them with the lowest. We can connect the top and the bottom by saying something like, in contrast to couples without children who accounted for only 9%. This little phrase creates such a powerful analytical link.
Okay, we've presented the key facts. Now it's time to deliver the final payload, a strong conclusion. And this isn't just about repeating a fact, it's about summarizing the overall story that the data is telling you. These starter phrases are your signal that the main insight is about to drop. The key to a really strong conclusion is to zoom out. I mean, we've already detailed the individual pieces. Sole parents are highest, single people are next. But what's the bigger story here? When you group these categories, you start to notice that sole parents and single people often represent younger, working-age households. In contrast, the other categories in the full data set, like aged couples, are much, much smaller. That's the underlying trend. So our summary becomes, in a nutshell, the data suggests younger households experienced poverty at a significantly higher rate than older ones. See? This captures the essence of the data, not just the individual numbers.
And there you have it. You've just taken a bunch of complex data and distilled it into a clear, concise, and analytical paragraph. So let's do a quick recap of the keys to your success so you can use them on your next mission. Here are your code-breaking rules. First, always mind the word limit. Second, follow that three-part blueprint: intro, body, conclusion. Third, create a logical flow by analyzing from highest to lowest. Fourth, level up your language with that secret weapon vocabulary. And finally, always conclude by summarizing the main trend or the overall story.
So, the next time you're faced with a chart or a graph, don't see it as some impossible puzzle. See it as a story that's just waiting to be told. You now have the blueprint, you have the tools, and you have the strategy to be its storyteller. The only question left is, what story will your data tell?